Welcome back to the Frizz and the Grease podcast with your hosts, Prudo and D.
Welcome and thank you for joining us today on a Super Bowl Monday, everyone's most dreaded Monday of the year.
I'm saying, bro, like I'm thankfully enough, I did not go ham. Like, I know a lot of people that will be tuning in probably did. I don't know if you did, but nah, man, I'm way past that go drinking for the Super Bowl life, man.
When the Eagles were doing real nice, I ripped a few shots. I'm not gonna lie. I have a good buddy who season ticket holder for the Eagles, and he's a big fan. So every time they score, I was like, let's take a shot, man.
You're a bigger man than I, because I could not do that, man. We went out to drink for drinks on Saturday, for Valentine's Day, and like I was feeling it Sunday morning, so like I'm way past that life, unfortunately.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. We don't do we're not big into Valentine's Day in my household, but I'm trying to plug my computer now.
Yeah, I can see, bro. What are you doing over there?
For
those that are listening, you won't be able to see the trouble that Trudeau is having over there. But for those that are watching,
panic attack right now. All right, we did behind the scenes, real talk. So there's occasionally we do this podcast where I don't know, we cut in and out, and it's mostly because my truck's ass. The battery life's probably I don't know, 30 minutes. And the one thing I forgot to do was plug in the computer before we started, and I just see batteries critically low, and I'm like, oh shit. So I had to panic and get that plugged in. All right, we're good.
Yes. Thank you for not cutting out mid-show.
But yeah, I'm glad you got to have a nice night out with the misses. You didn't get too wild for the Super Bowl. That's good. Responsible ass adult. I don't like that very much, but whatever.
Sorry to disappoint. Before we go farther than we need to go, as we do it, and I apologize for y'all that were listening last week. You didn't tell me that I was eating the microphone at the beginning of the show. If I'm talking too close to the goddamn mic, y'all need to say something. But as we always yell into the microphone, happy fucking Monday. Trudeau doesn't have a crack though. Well, a crack for the
dude. You already see.
Already opened it.
I'm off my game today.
This man is ready to go. Actually, I don't even know if you consider it ready to go. It was a long night. It seems like it. It's them damn shots.
I still have Stone Cold on my pad. At least that's good. Hey man, Super Bowl Monday is a tough day for everyone. And speaking of Super Bowl Monday, we're going to talk a lot about the game last night. Probably the majority of the show. We have a Frizz's 5. And if we get around to it, depending how much the Super Bowl talk goes, we want to do a little deadline stuff because last week was popping with sports. Trade deadline was on Thursday. It was really exciting. But just for you guys watching, I see there's a couple of you out there now. We want to make this show. We always say with the podcast of the people, right? We want to be the people's show. We want to kind of take your comments.
Podcast, man, get it right.
Yeah. And this show, we want to actually up the ante. We're going to open up the phone line, and if you want to call in and talk to us, give us some of your hot takes, whatever about the Super Bowl, halftime commercials. I don't give a shit. We want to hear from you. So I'm going to pop the number up afterwards once we get going, and feel free to call whenever and just be part of the show. So D, just overall, well, before we get into the Super Bowl itself, do you have a nice spread?
Doro Merigato, Mr. Roboto, of course.
Food spread or not?
I mean, for those that will get to listen to the Autobots over at the Trudeau residence, I apologize. I think what he was asking if I had any food preference for the Super Bowl. Typically, we usually go to the in-laws' crib, and they usually have an incredible spread. This is the first year I don't think we didn't go anywhere. First year with 2 kids, so 2 kids that have a bedtime smack dab in the middle of kickoff. So it's just not the best timing to wake up a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old at the third quarter to be like, hey, we're going home. So we decided to chill, relax, no real spread. We had leftover sushi from when we went out to eat for dinner on Saturday night. So that's kind of how we spent that. What about yourself? What's your spread you usually like?
Yeah, you should tell me what vibes I give off. We had charcuterie, and White Claws was what we were going at.
I'll let you say it, man. I'm not gonna say it, but you're right up my alley. No, you're right up the alley that you think I'm going to say with white people. But that's for you, man. If you like the White Claws, if you like charcuterie boards, that's on you, man. That's not my.
Down the charcuterie boards. You're not into the charcuterie.
So know what?
I'm
a big fan of grabbing pepperonis and peppers, but that's about it, man. I don't need all of those different selections that are on the board. It also takes a shit ton of time for somebody to put that together. So kudos to those that do it, but no, that's not my cup of tea.
All right, and just for those who joined us live just now, we do have the hotline open. So if you want to call some of your Super Bowl takes or whatever, anything about the Super Bowl, give us a ring. But actually diving into the game itself, did you enjoy it?
I did. So this was for what we were expecting. I know I said 24-20. I expected it to be a low scoring Super Bowl just because of the defense of the Eagles. To get 30 plus points out of two teams, this is what people wanted, right? Like they wanted the excitement of people scoring touchdowns, not just like rolling touchdowns, like a bunch of rushing, even though that was Jalen Hurts. It was like exciting touchdowns, like passes down the field. We saw the AJ Brown catch, which was absolutely incredible. We saw Kelsey take one deep. So like it was great for the offensive fan or the casual fan to see a bunch of points. So I enjoyed the game. I thought both teams played incredibly well, limited to no mistakes, but I'm sure we'll go into it when it comes to all the mistakes that did happen.
Absolutely. And shout out to JA, man. Appreciate him. Long time listener, first time here with us in the actual live stream. I feel like throw out your questions, call the hotline, whatever you guys want, be part of the show. Yeah, it was crazy because this Super Bowl might have been the cleanest one I've seen in my recollection. One turnover, I think it was 4 sacks. No, 3 total sacks. I didn't see much as far as penalties are concerned. And it wasn't such as like, it wasn't a thing of it was bad defense, right? It was just two teams executing at a high level.
Incredible offense. I know that I had messaged you, but I messaged like literally all of my group chats. What Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes did as a scheme for that team was incredible. And big shouts to Sirianni as well. Like we understand that like the Chiefs defense isn't like like their bread and butter. It's not the way that they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they also ran their script to a T with, getting Jalen Hurts vertical and not outside runs, getting him right up the middle, right? And then when they expect it to be running up the middle, hit him over the top with the deep pass. And like they both coached incredibly well for that game. And it came down to a field goal, right? Like that's what we would want as a fan.
Yeah, I think the Andy Reid angle is a good way to start because you mentioned kind of how the coaches. And we're big proponents on this podcast about how much coaching matters in the NFL. And we'll start with Sirianni. I think what he did was he knew he had a very talented roster, and he said, "We're not going to win playing scared." I texted you; they wanted to win, and I appreciate that because some teams get into that big game. It reminds me of remember the 49ers when they played the Chiefs in their first Super Bowl. Mahomes' first Super Bowl win, and the 49ers kind of played scared in the second half with the lead, and they, ended by blowing it. Sirianni was like, screw it, man. Like, we're here. We're going to go for it. They took big shots that were going for on fourth down, and it really paid off for them big time. And then Andy Reid, man, on the other side, he might be the guru play caller. I know everyone loves McVay out in LA for his genius, but the way he surgically dissected that Eagles defense in the second half, I don't think they had. I heard a crazy stat about the second half for the Chiefs, and I might butcher some of these stats. 0 punts, 0 penalties, 0 turnovers, 0 sacks. Just like and there was only 1 incompletion.
That was the one I was going to say that you missed.
And it was an intentional throwaway. So just like Andy Reid, the way they orchestrated the second half, the game plan, it was outstanding. I think you agree with me. Andy Reid, I don't know the old timey head coaches as well. In my lifetime, I'll just say, right, second best coach, hands down. I still give it to Bill because of what he's done in New England and the dynasty he's built. But Andy Reid's done it with 2 organizations now, made them great, and I think he gets proper credit though in the media. I think people really sing his praise. I do want to get your question on the opinion on this though. On the flip side, I don't know as like a fan watching it, but it seems like Bieniemy gets no praise for this. It's all on Andy Reid. And I was curious your thoughts because like it's hard to tell who's doing what there.
2 ports to it from me. So first port, I said part, very strange. No, you're good.
I didn't see this.
No, you're good. You're good. Oh, there's this question right there. So first part for me at least was Andy Reid is the second best coach. Like I alluded to it. I think either not the last show because we were talking, WWF, but I think 2 weeks ago I said like if he wins this, like I understand Bill is the best of all time, greatest of all time, but I'm pretty sure Andy Reid will start to sneak into that area just based off of his resume and like what the play calls the scheme that they had for this game, right? He understood how aggressive Philadelphia is, and they're going to play man up defense. They're going to try to rush their four, limited blitzes because Mahomes is hobbled. There were 3 plays that stuck out. 2 of them were essentially the same play, but it was perfect timing for them both. And then one of them that was incredible. So Kelsey on a 3rd and I want to say 9 ran a stick route, but not just a normal stick route, like the old school stick and nod from like college football, where you expect it to be an out, then he turns it into a corner, and then boom, in right across the middle. He was not only wide open, but the anticipation of Mahomes to be like, this play is good. This play is butter. All I have to do is make sure that the left tackle gets blocked. He does. Fire it over the middle, easy 15 to 20 yards. And it's like from then on, you could tell this is going to be an easy game for them. They're still going to have to deal with the D line, but Andy Reid put Fletcher Cox in areas that he didn't want to be in when it comes to double team, but not always double teaming. He made their defensive linemen, like their outside exterior linemen, non-existent, whether it's chipping them with Kelsey, chipping them with McKinnon. He lined up Jerick McKinnon at fullback and pulled him.
Yeah. And that was a hell of a block too.
It was right at the goal line. So like the linebacker that he blocked may have, I'm not going to say he would have stopped him, but he would have had a chance to make a play. They pulled the right guard and their fullback, who was Jerick McKinnon, into the C gap. This is incredible thinking. And like they did what they needed to do against one of the league's best defenses, and they made them look minute, like very infinitesimal is what people would say.
I thought, you know what, the one thing I wrote down that I thought was really interesting is it almost felt like both teams realized they had to adopt a different game plan to win this game. And it almost feels like they adopted each other's identity offensively. If you look at Kansas City's rushing yards, they averaged 6.1 yards a carry. Pacheco was ripping off run after run on the most important drives of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles only had 3.6, and Hurts accounted for the majority of those carries and those total yards. So their running backs did really poorly. And obviously, the Eagles' bread and butter is the run game. Then on the flip side, Kansas City sub 200 passing, Eagles over 300 yards passing. So it was weird in that the Chiefs realized if you are going to throw the ball, that pass rush, which was like historically good, I think they were like the 3rd best sack total in NFL history. Granted, they have an extra game over some of the teams in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But they realized early they'd have to run the ball, and they did it really effectively. And that was huge for them because it gave Mahomes a little more time in the passing game.
One of the bigger aspects that I don't think there's something about, it's just human nature. It sets in. Everybody expected Mahomes to not scramble this week. And then when he got hurt, you were like, there's no way he can. Like, he just limped off again.
Yeah,
most of his scrambles were easily the, oh crap, he can run. Like the people forgot that he could run. We're going to touch on that one soon. Don't worry.
I want to touch on that so bad.
That's a whole nother segment. Like we have to have a designated time.
I forgot about that. I wrote that down too.
What I was saying is most of Mahomes' runs were key first down runs. Like they weren't just scrambles for 1 or 2 yards. They were like 3rd and 6, and he picked up 15. So like their run game was perfectly executed, especially with the man-to-man. Sirianni's going to line up a man. He doesn't care. Like our best 7 are better than your best 7. And if you look at it roster-wise, he's still right. You know what I mean? He's still correct. Juju Smith-Schuster, yeah, Kelsey obviously across the middle, but like Juju Smith-Schuster, who? Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who? You know what I mean? Like a bunch of names that if you look across, you go, no, the Eagles man up better. And that's scheme, man. That's our guys may not be better than yours. That's the old school New England. I'm not going to compare the two, but that's the old school. Why the hell is Edelman always open? Why the hell is fucking Danny Amendola open? You know what I mean? Like how? They're not better. It's scheme.
I think it's part scheme. And I think maybe the way we approach this is attack the Kansas City offense and go to Eagles offense. And when we get to the Eagles stuff, I want to touch on what J.A. said in the chat about the rugby play.
Oh, I love that.
We'll talk about that. I think that's what he's referring to. We'll talk about that in a minute. But from the Kansas City point of view, I think part of it is scheme, but I think also Travis Kelce is just so dangerous that he draws so many eyes that they can then scheme off of that. Because if you remember, I think it was Sky Moore and was it Kadarius Toney who had that kind of like in and out to score
That was it.
touchdowns on. It's the
Yep.
same play, opposite
Same
sides.
play, back-to-back scoring plays.
But the play is designed for them to look like it's going to be a drag route. And because of the effect it would have on Kelsey opening him up, the defense overcommits and they bite down. And when you pull it back, so like, I don't think their offense, you can scheme as much as you want, but having Travis Kelsey as kind of the eyes really, really helps them. And it reminds me a lot of how the Patriots use Rob Gronkowski and kind of used him to draw a lot of attention and scheme the little white guys open.
It's very true, and I said it. I mean, this isn't really to toot the horn, but like I said, we were going to see a different Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, without that security blanket of just fuck it, throw it downfield. He was able to utilize the whole roster in the Super Bowl. Like, what's up?
Take your bow. Take your bow. Go ahead.
You want me to? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I said it. I said it week one. I said it week one. And I'm not even a Chiefs fan. I'm not even going to go down the road of going off, right? You said take a bow. I wasn't even going to do that. But just so you guys know, literally said week one. I didn't call him. And now I'm going off a tangent because you brought it up. I said he was going to be the best version of it. Is he a better passer? Yes. You are going to see him start to absolutely manipulate. He's going to start to surgically take down people this season. We saw him with his least amount of turnovers. We saw him have incredible success passing to people that aren't named Travis Kelsey. And the Super Bowl is prime example. So many people touched the ball where he's not keying out on two guys. And even one, Kelsey got open, like you said, he's going to get his. But he was able to find ways to get the ball to other players that are not superstars. This is a very, very dangerous Patrick Mahomes that the league is going to have to deal with for the next couple of years.
You said you almost said the Chiefs would be better without.
No, I never said the Chiefs were better. I said that Mahomes was going to be a bet. I mean, they did, right? But they won a Super Bowl with him. So, like, that's apples to oranges. But I did say he was going to be a better quarterback, the position of quarterback without Tyreek Hill. And the results showed it, obviously, in the last 18 to 20 games.
Yeah. So just touching on the Eagles offense, I'm kind of with Jared on this one. I hate that stupid rugby push play. They should just get rid of that. They should make that illegal, man. That's
Absolutely
so annoying.
not.
It's so annoying.
I'm glad we're on the opposite side of this. Protect the run game. Like, don't get rid of it. And if they are going to line up in, if they're going to run on, they lined up in victory formation. Instead of taking a knee, they ran it. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're gonna find a way to stop it, man up, right? Stop having D tackles be 280 pounds and your defensive lineman be 250 so you can rush the edger. Where's Ted Washington at, right? Where's Haloti Nada, right?
Like rule though, I was gonna say I'm with Jay on this one. Didn't they make a rule you can't push
guys? They got rid of that. They got rid of that rule. Yeah. So this one, I don't remember the exact year, but there was an issue with the Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush push in the USC National Championship where he pushed him in the end zone, and there was a big thing like that's illegal. And I'm like 99.9% positive they got rid of it across the board because of that. You can push anybody at any point. I don't think you can carry them. You can't bring them into the end zone, but you can push them into the end zone.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is some quarterback's going to get hurt severely, like a star quarterback.
Mr. Roboto. Sorry, here we go again. The internet of Steven Trudeau. He will kick back in at some point, but I don't believe it's illegal. It's just one of those things where it's probably frowned upon from everybody that's playing offense. Like, yo, man, what are you doing? But the team that's running it is like, just stop it. Stop having your linemen be really small and my offensive linemen be really big, and we can just bully you. Did you find a date, or are you?
Yeah, I'm actually. I'm reading the article, and it's specifically mentioning the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart thing that you were talking about.
That's when
Did you hear me about?
That's when it became a problem.
Did you hear me about the idea that like a quarterback's going to get hurt, an important quarterback's going to get hurt doing that? They're going to.
You said that, but an important quarterback's not going to run that play. Not that Hurts isn't important, but he's also a fullback, essentially playing quarterback. You're not seeing Matt Ryan line up in that formation and run it down the middle. That's not happening.
Yeah, I hate that play. They were really good at running it, though. It's insane. With that offensive line, it's just not fair. just touching on other things, the Eagle offense, right? I think I'm ready to say this, and I don't know if this is a crazy take. Jalen Hurts is my number 3 quarterback now in the NFL. It goes Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. There it is.
I would clap, but obviously I don't want to clap with the microphone here. You are not the only person to think that. I don't know. I haven't sat back to
Was
compare.
this a reaction like yes, or was it like you're a dumbass?
Yes, it was a reaction of thank you, right? And I'm glad that JA is against it. So what? Go ahead and put Herbert there. Go ahead and
Who do you
put.
want ahead of him?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, right? And the reason why I am absolutely loving you saying that is because results prove, right? This wasn't just a flash in the pan, right? He showed on the biggest stage that he could throw the ball if needed, and he didn't have to the whole season. What are the Eagles going to do if they get behind? Hurts can't throw. The man went off for 300 yards and no interceptions. He can throw if he has to, but he's not forced to because his team is so good and he's really good to keep his team ahead. He didn't even get a like if the Eagles didn't get that flag, we may be crowning the Eagles as the Super Bowl champions. And this is a perfect segue to talk about it. But
no, before we get to the flag, but like just on the Hurts thing, right? During that Super Bowl, the biggest stage, there was not one throw that he made that I was like, ooh, that's an inaccurate throw.
No.
Every throw was just where it had to be, right? So like that's a very, very good baseline. But when he made that throw to Goddard, I was like, oh no, he's that
dime.
Dude. He's that dude.
Absolute
he's that dude.
Dime. Like
There's
that was
like 3 people who could make that pass, and it was impressive as hell.
So he will have, and I mean, you can go on the record and saying this, he will have the accuracy of a like Drew Brees, right? He may not have the arm.
Really accurate. That's
exactly
accurate.
What I'm saying is he has the ability to put the ball where it needs to go, and he always has, right? Like AJ Brown yesterday was like, "Oh, this ball's not going to be here. Oh crap, this ball is going to be here." Like he can outthrow people if he needs to, but like people tend to think that if you're a scrambling quarterback, you can't throw, or like you can only just huck the ball and it's not accurate. And he put the ball in a spot where literally only his receiver could catch it 60 yards down the field. Like, come on, man. Like, let's get off this. And it's not you. It's just I hear it all the time. Hurts ain't a quarterback. He's a running back. Blah, 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 blah. Like, enough already. Like, he is one of, I'm not going to, like I said, I have to sit back and start to rank. I'm not going to put him in my top 3. I love that you did, but like, we talk about the Hail Mary. Hey, man, it's the end of the game. Quick. Like, that's anything can happen on that.
I see a lot of haters in the chat. Mostly one hater, and he's yet to say who's better. Like, who's number 3 then if Hurts is not number 3? Because I'm waiting. I'm still waiting on who that name is because I'm guessing he has no rebuttal to that. Here's the thing though, Hurts. Like, even if you worst case scenario say he's a top 10 accurate passer in the league, like number 8, 9, 10, right? He's still second best running quarterback in third maybe. You might want to get your guy out in Chicago, Fields, above him. But either way, combining those 2 skill sets, right? Top 3 quarterback. He's that dude.
He came. So I was rooting for, I hate to say the political answer. I was rooting for both Mahomes and Hurts, right? But the trajectory of this man's career, like think about what happened when he was at Alabama, right? He wins a national championship, then he gets benched for Tua in another national championship, but like responds well, roots for his team, is high-fiving and congratulating them winning a national championship, goes to Oklahoma and does his thing against Alabama, right? Like he lost, but like he did his thing. Goes to the NFL, he's going to be a terrible quarterback. He can't trust anything. Like Doug Peterson gets shipped out. So like people wanted to people wanted to cut Jalen Hurts before getting rid of Peterson, right? They were like, you can't win with him. All he does this season is go 17-2 to the Super Bowl, possible MVP if Mahomes isn't, who is the Super Bowl MVP. So it's like he's 1A to the 1B, he's 1B to the 1A. Like, what else does this kid need to do to people to start believing in him? And there's really nothing else. Like every hater talk that you can have has been silenced with what he did, not only this season, but in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what I think it is with Hurts is that because of what happened in Alabama and him getting replaced by Tua, there's going to be a stain on him for some reason, like his perception for his career, where he's the guy who couldn't hold his job in Alabama, so he can't be number 3 quarterback in the league. And so
There's no way that follows him. That shit is gone after this season, bro. He brought them to the Super Bowl.
I know, but like I think there'll still be people who want to hold on to that. And so in the chat, so the number 3 person, our viewer said what was Allen. And here's the thing. I think they have a very similar skill set. And also the excuses people want to make of why Hurts is good because he has all those weapons. Josh Allen has weapons too, right? So you could say the same thing about either quarterback. I have a question for you.
Mhm.
What quarterback just went to the Super Bowl and put up a performance? Actually, I think he tied the record for most rushing touchdowns
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl. Who was that? Was it Josh Allen?
Why do you got to ask rhetorical questions like that?
Absolutely fucking not. It was just,
So
I'm just
what?
saying.
And I can't remember, unfortunately. Oh, it's Dayball. That's what it was. There's going to be a huge judgment season for Josh Allen, and it's going to be next year because we saw him stink it up, unfortunately, the first couple years of his career, right? Then he gets Diggs, but he also gets Brian Daboll. What did Brian Daboll do for Danny Dimes, right? He made them a
He
playoff
got
team.
paid.
Exactly. He made them a playoff team, and Danny Dimes did absolutely incredible. And then Dayball leaves, right? The Bills and Josh Allen regress to the turnover king that he was, leading the NFL. Not so great of a season. So if he does this back-to-back seasons, how are you going to put Josh Allen above Jalen Hurts, who just went the entire season with like a 30-4 turnover ratio? No, probably like a 40-4 turnover ratio if you combine his rushing touchdowns. I don't understand like the comparison between the two.
Yeah. Do you want to touch on any of the defenses? I thought like neither defenses played particularly. There wasn't like a ton of mistakes by the defense. It's just I just feel like it was just surgical by both offenses. You know what they say: offense beats defense, or whatever. Great offense, beats great defense.
Yeah, that's
you want to
essentially
touch
it.
on that last play that was a deciding factor, kind of in the game.
That's essentially all we can get as a takeaway for the defenses because I don't think that I don't think that the Chiefs defense played bad. They played to the par that they could play. I think the Eagles defense did not play their best, right? Compared to how good they've been the entire season. They didn't sack a broken leg, not broken, a messed up leg Mahomes. They didn't sack him once. So like they didn't live up to their expectations. But I still don't think they play like either team played terribly bad on defense. The offense was just that much better than their counterparts. And I think, I mean, this is a kind of, again, coming from the Saints fan, when it comes to the defensive holding on 3rd and 8 with a minute and 20 seconds left in a game, you cannot put yourself in a situation to have a referee make that call. I can't remember the defensive player that got the hold. Is it a hold? Yes. Do you make that call in the Super Bowl with a minute 20 seconds left? No. So that you're not going to change the way I feel about that. Like as a defensive player, as a defensive back, you cannot do that in the NFL, knowing that they throw ticky-tack fouls for everything. And I understand they were letting the boys play, but at that moment, they called it as consistent as they had for the past 10 years that's been a flag.
It wasn't much of a hold. Usually, you see like the body get
Jersey
jarred.
tug. His
There's a
jersey
difference
literally
between
was
a
touching
tug-
his butt cheek because
I know,
he
but
pulled
there's a
it.
difference between the jersey getting tugged and you actually getting thrown off your route. It wasn't much of a. I feel like every play you see someone like just having the hand on the jersey, but it's not usually called unless it's throwing the body off or throwing the route off. I just thought it was a weak call. It's just disappointing because I get it. Like by the books, if you want to throw it, you can throw it, and I feel like that's literally every play at every football game. There's a hold, there's something you could throw a flag in every play. And it just sucks that we had such a good football game. There was only 4 punts and 4 drives ending in field goals. Everything else was touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. It
One
was back
turnover.
and forth. It was so exciting. And everyone at home was thinking one thing. All right, now we get to see, is Hurts that dude? Is he going to lead them to win the Super Bowl? Because what we were thinking was field goal. All right, Hurts, You want to prove it? Let's do this thing. And we got robbed. I feel like as the viewing audience, we didn't get that moment because there was so much buildup, and then literally it's just Mahomes backpedaling, taking knees, and that's it. And it just felt so disheartening to see that.
Suck the air out of the stadium, essentially, like out of the entire buildup for the Super Bowl, right? 2 weeks worth of media coverage, 2 weeks worth of, hyping up, obviously Hurts, hyping up Mahomes. And then Mahomes makes the drive. He gets the scramble down to the goal into the red zone. I was waiting for you. Don't worry. He gets the scramble into the red zone, and like he's setting up, and like first down play wasn't the best. Second down play gets stopped. Third down, I'm like, all right, we're like 3rd and 8. They're just gonna play for a field goal. I even texted my group. I was like, they're playing for the field goal. That hold happens, and I'm not gonna say it ruined the game. It just made the ending. Yeah, it made the game unfortunately not as exciting as the first 58 and a half minutes were, because it was an incredible Super Bowl. And like I said, man, being a Saints fan, you can't do that. You can't put yourself in a position where one play can change the outcome of the game. Like the Eagles had plenty of chances to stop them on defense with an all-time great defense, like you said, greatest of all time defense in the history of the game, and they couldn't make that stop, right? And Sirianni, thankfully, him and the defensive back that played that game, that made that penalty, they both went on air, and like for the people that want to hold their, oh, it was a bad flag and NFL scripted on that shit. Like when people take accountability for shit, like it's dead. Like
lame.
End it, bro. Who? What? Me? Or the
no,
fans?
That dude is lame. That dude,
man. No, he's
so
that
to
guy,
come out.
I don't care, man.
It's like it went off me, coach. It went off me, coach. And all this,
it's off me, coach. No, Sirianni said it
lame-o.
the same way too. Like, look, man, to tell you the truth, I don't know how many plays he said, but he's like, there are 90 plays that were played in that game. That one call did not decide this game. We didn't do enough. We weren't good enough to win that game. They were better. They executed better. And it's like, it's dead. Enough with it being the flag decided the game. Like, they put up 35. They let the other team score 38. That's the problem, not the flag. So you're not going to change my opinion with that. I hated the call. I hated it being called at the moment, but it's the right call. You got to play better. You got to do better if you're looking to win a Super Bowl.
Do you have any more on the field football thoughts, takes, or whatever? Because I have a couple random Super Bowl things I want to like jump into, including the halftime show afterwards. But like any more on the field stuff?
No, man, I'm good. Like I said, I think we did a good job with covering the Super Bowl. It's give the man his flowers when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Like I said in Week 12, and Patty Mahomes might be that next guy that we said we weren't going to see again. So let's.
I said he's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And that's like not like the greatest winner. Like Tom Brady's the greatest winner, but like as far as
the position quarterback,
like playing the position, yeah, he's the greatest.
I'm not gonna beg to differ on that. I'm gonna say let me see a little bit more, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with that argument by any means. That's not a hot take.
Random thought I had, a random story I heard about the Super Bowl. Do you know who Angie is?
Damn, bro, here we go with the fucking Autobots. It's like whenever you're getting ready to make a good point, you start turning into Optimus Prime. But go ahead.
I'm gonna get a new fucking computer this week. I'm saying it right now. I'm getting a new computer.
I'm here for it, man.
Do you know who Vic Fangio is?
Congratulations. Vic Fangio, old Giants coach, right? No, old Broncos coach.
Yeah.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
He was there after before, but I wanted to just press that button. But did you hear that he signed a 2-week contract with the Eagles to join their coaching staff because he played against the Chiefs a bunch in his past? So they gave him a 2-week contract.
I thought I heard that like as I was listening to like First Take, which is absolutely wild, but no, that's weird. So random.
Weird. Yeah, he's a defensive coach, and he ended up by helping their offense. Am I a robot again?
No, you were frozen for a second, but you're good.
Oh, okay, I love being a robot. I should just do this the whole fucking episode and do weird shit. Oh, god damn. But that was weird. Did you have any favorite commercials? Were you into the commercials at all?
Commercials were good. I'm not gonna say they were great. I had made a comment to the missus that they hit the dog commercials pretty good this year. Like for some random reason, they wanted people to start crying because of dogs, and I got a little choked up on one of them because they showed a dog and like the family and like the dog getting older, and then they didn't replace the dog, but they got a dog. It was an Amazon commercial. They got a dog.
Down.
Yeah, no, stop, cut it out. They didn't do that. They bought a kennel for a puppy, and it was just like hit me right here. I was like, damn, man, my dog's turning 5 this year. Like, why you gotta do this? So those commercials were dope. I think Tubi did an incredible job of trying to promote their business, but their platform is so bad, man. It's incredible. Some of the movies that Tubi produced movies that they put out, like go on social media and just watch what they do, man. It's absolutely hilarious.
I had random questions, like one about the commercials. Why do we need a commercial to tell us about avocados? I don't understand. Do people not know that they exist?
They brought it back. Avocados of Mexico. That commercial used to be the thing like 10 years ago.
But like, what are you promoting? Like, yeah, there's avocados. Great. I know now. It's like the got milk commercials. I never understood it. It's like, yeah, milk exists. Great. It's not like hood milk or whatever. It's just like, yeah, milk.
It's just milk.
The same thing with avocados. I don't understand it at all. Just avocados.
I know the jingle, and I thought it was hilarious because like that was like obviously like the water break, and then like I hear avocados of Mexico. Like I haven't heard that in years.
Why are we making a Fast 10? Why?
Because why? That's all you need to know is because.
And Jason Momoa is in it. They're just throwing as many action stars as they can into
John
that
Cena's
thing.
also in it. I noticed that. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a great movie. I'm gonna make sure that I watch it.
And then I don't know if this is controversial saying this, but we also need commercials for Jesus. Like, just like
that came out of nowhere. What? Like that one commercial where like they were showing like all the protests and like fighting and all that, but like still images of it. I was like, I don't know where we're going with this. And then it was like Jesus loves all, and I was like,
what?
Wow. All right. Sure, man. Like whoever paid that, like, did God pay for this commercial? Because I want to know who spent the money on, who put up the bread for this. Because they ran 3 commercials. I was like, I gotta lie, was not expecting that. Jesus spent a lot of dough on Sunday. I'll tell you that.
I feel like that's like the milk thing or the avocado things. It's like, oh, this Jesus guy, I've never heard of him before. I should look into that. All right. What are you doing?
Yeah, that was definitely strange to see Jesus.com or whatever the website is. Need God, right. Go to God.com.
We have to address this because someone's smoking in the chat room. Are you on board with that
so
statement?
I'm not going to call it mid. I am going to rebuttal by saying I want to know what y'all motherfuckers would be doing if your pregnant ass was up there trying to dance. And I think she put on an incredible performance. Yo, you imagine being like strung up that high in a stadium? Like it's like 20, probably more than 20. That's like 100 feet in the air. Like just the logistics behind that was awesome. I thought her dance moves for where she's at in her life is absolutely incredible. The dancers around her were pretty dope. And you still have to think about the tracks that are being used. Rihanna put out banger after banger after banger. And like when she was rapping or singing all of those, I was like, damn, I forgot that these were all tracks that she was in. Good for her. I was expecting somebody like Drake, not Kanye, but maybe Jay-Z.
That would have been the most controversial shit.
But I mean, it would have been dope.
What was she singing?
Work.
The Kanye song. What Kanye song?
All of the Lights.
Yeah, and like I noticed at that point in time there was almost like a square in the middle of the center stage, and I'm like, oh no, is Kanye gonna come out the middle?
That one would have been weird. I was not expecting. I was more so expecting if there were like a surprise thing that the Super Bowl usually does. Some random dude like fat 50 Cent laying upside down. Love that performance. But like random Drake out of nowhere or Jay-Z, like those would have been like, oh, wow, that would have been dope. But I didn't think it was mid. I just thought it was good.
Out of 10, what are you giving it out of 10? I'm curious where you
7.5. Okay.
I was gonna say a 7 out of 10 as well. Mm-hmm. And here's my take, right? Here, let's start the good. The good thing about the performance, right? Her catalog is just bangers. Like every song's like, yo, that's a bomb ass song. Like Rihanna's got a great catalog. Another positive. I thought the stage looked really cool. I thought the color scheme, like she really popped with the red and all the white dancers. Mm-hmm. I thought overall, like, it was unique. It looked cool. All right. Bad. Her dancing was terrible. I don't know what you're talking about. Her dancing was good. She just stood there and just went like this.
Chill, man. Again, pregnant woman out there getting her.
All right, I
doing the
understand.
groove thing. Come on, man.
I'm-
You gotta give her credit for at least the situation she's in.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm
She
not
ain't 20-year-old Rihanna no more, man. She 35, already got one baby with another one on the way. Rihanna, come on, man.
I was kind of hoping that there'd be some sort of guest appearance or something else to break it up, but there wasn't, and that's kind of unusual considering I'm thinking back halftime. The Weeknd was solo, I believe,
Yes,
but that was the last one I could think of that was solo for a while.
that was the COVID Super Bowl too. So like, I'm not surprised that it was like
Yeah.
that. But other than that, I don't remember there being a solo artist for quite some time. You have to go
I
back
think
a lot.
I thought she was fine. Like, I think it was good. It wasn't bad. You know what the problem is, to be honest with you, about the Rihanna performance is like nobody was going to be able to follow up last year's performance.
Oh yeah,
That was the best shit I've ever seen.
yeah. That's one of. I don't want to take away obviously what we saw last night, but like that was one of, if not the best Super Bowl halftime performance like in the history of it of the game. Like it also hit the nostalgia button for the age group that watches the game now. You know what I mean? Like the 50, 60, 70-year-olds, they don't care about that shit. But like all those that grew up in that time frame are now old enough to reflect back and be like, this was really good music. And we were alive for all of this. So like I think that's why it hit more home nostalgia-wise for everybody viewing last year.
Yeah, I think too, like the stage last year was so intricate. They had different parts of the stage representing different parts of California. And it just like it felt like a whole different like act every time they switched to performers. And like the Rihanna thing was great, but it was just kind of the same thing for 20 minutes straight. You know, it was all right. Like she was good. Like shout out to Rihanna.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. She was all right. I don't think she was mid. Mid is used as a negatory term.
derogative,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't think that it was a bad performance. I just thought it was pretty good. It was okay. It was good.
The thing I'm curious about the Rihanna thing, right, is that the thing I'm curious about the Rihanna thing is for what, right? Because like I bet you she signed up to do that before she got pregnant because
Yep.
usually you do those halftime shows, you don't get paid if you're unaware, those performers don't get paid.
Mhm.
But like it's a way to promote yourself, and usually after you do the halftime show, you can have huge opportunities, selling stadium
Release an
tours,
album.
whatever. Like for example, I had tickets to go see The Weeknd in 2021, right? Or I had tickets to go see The Weeknd in 2020, but it got postponed to 2022. And when I had tickets to The Weeknd originally, it was at the TD Garden, so a basketball arena. But after a Super Bowl halftime show, it got moved to Gillette, a football stadium, which is so much bigger.
Mhm.
And I lost my ticket because like that doesn't transfer. Like I got a refund. But my point being is that like the Super Bowl halftime show is kind of like a stepping stone, almost to like get back at the top.
Mhm.
And like for Rihanna, she did the Super Bowl halftime show, but now she can't tour because she's pregnant. Or you assume she ain't gonna be touring for a year and a half, 2 years maybe.
The buildup is going to be crazy behind that, though, man. People were already waiting for Rihanna to release some really good new music. So I think this is just going to elevate that because now people are like, oh, she's pregnant. Like, when is she going to put out that music? It's going to build up the excitement and like the anxiety behind waiting for it. Anxiousness, not anxiety.
She's gonna break Ticketmaster just like T Swift did. I'm telling you right now.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I thought that was a good time to transition. I didn't think you had anything else on Rihanna.
I'm glad that you do it. Like, we run really well together. We see eye to eye when it comes to like when we can go on to like the next segment. So good shit.
You know what it is? I had nothing left on that, and I could just see you kind of looking down, like wandering your eyes. I'm like, nah, he's done. He can't do what I should just push you. You know what I'm gonna do one of these episodes just to fuck with you? Is I'm gonna keep on a subject way too long to see how long it takes for you to be like, bro, get the fuck out of here.
You could do that, but then we're gonna come across, I think
So
it might have been
bad.
2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago when we could have? We don't have enough, but like we could probably put together bloopers or like when co-hosts aren't listening to each other or something like that. Because that's exactly how we ended the week. I think it was like 2 weeks ago when you said something,
so
and I was
bad.
like, "Yep," and it was just dead air for like 5
Or
seconds.
or the time that you were asking about the Saints coach, and I was just like, yeah, and you asked me like a very pointed question, and I was
Yep.
not paying attention.
You just said yes, and I was like, we didn't get the answer I was looking for, but appreciate you, bro.
appreciate you too.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
You know what? I'm starting to think that announcer guy might be embellishing a little bit because I feel like I've heard top 5s before, but nothing like Frizz's 5, right?
Ain't no way that anybody has a Frizz's 5 better than my 5. Come on now.
All right. So if you're new to the proceedings, Frizz's 5, D gives his top 5 of whatever. And be in lieu of the Super Bowl, championship matchup, and we were loving on Jalen Hurts, even though there are some haters in the chat. You had a special list for us today.
Yeah, going the L side, unfortunately. Usually we don't drive Lexus and carry L's with ourselves. But today we're going to start with at least the top 5 football. From what we saw last night, I feel like we should start ranking some shit when it comes to top championship performances that still resulted in a loss.
I'm interested to see where this goes. I didn't do any research because it's hard to research this. You have to kind of just think on top of your head. I had one that really stuck out to me. It's like, oh, this is definitely a top 5 contender. But yeah, if you're in the chat, we have a good amount of people here right now. If you could think of what is it again? So
championship performances that still resulted in an L. I hit as many sports as I could. Okay. Essentially, whether it's a series, whether it's a 1-game thing, whether it's a March Madness elimination type thing, like it's essentially someone performed incredibly well, and it didn't matter what their performance was, they still lost. But you look back and go, good God, like how could a team lose when they have somebody on their team doing this?
So basically someone who balled out but still lost.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. And again, championship level. We're not talking about regular season shit, man. I'm talking like NBA Finals, Super Bowl, World Series, NHL Stanley Cup. Yeah, like give that man his due because like he put on a performance. So number 5, and the way that we start this off, the way that I say it, I don't give a damn what you guys are going to rank. This is my top 5. It ain't your top 5. Number 5, first one I'm going with is T.O. versus the Patriots back in 2012.
Okay, do you have some of the numbers for me?
Yeah, number-wise, and it's not even just the stats, it's what he did. This man had a broken leg. I'm pretty sure it was a tibia bone, something that like you shouldn't be playing on. 9 receptions, 120 plus receiving yards, and the potential of the game-winning setup for that Eagles team.
No tutties?
No touchdowns because they understood that this man had a broken leg. Like, again, it's not just the touchdown part of it. It's what he did in that game. Multiple 20-plus yard receptions to set his team up. The Eagles team that all they had was Terrell Owens. Like, think about who they had on offense. All you have to do is key in on this one guy. And with a broken leg, he literally carried them to a chance to win a Super Bowl. Tied game all the way up till 10 seconds into the game, and the Patriots obviously kicked the field goal for the win. But like that's an incredible gutsy performance just based off of what happened to him in that.
I guess if you want to give him the asterisk of he had a screwed up leg, broken leg, the performance is, as Jared would say, mid.
All right, whatever. I want to hear what yours is. If you don't want to go on deep on that one, but man having a broken leg and putting up 9 and 120 in a
nobody asked him to play the broken leg,
but he did. Like he did, and he balled the fuck out. Again, this is my top 5. It ain't your top 5. Number 4.
You mean average the fuck out? Then yes.
Whatever. Number 4, and I don't care if it's recency bias, but we already said the numbers that he put up. Jalen Hurts yesterday against the Chiefs.
Wow.
300 in the air, 70 on the ground, 4 touchdowns. That is incredible in a loss in a Super Bowl era. I don't care if you want to throw out the scrambling quarterback. I don't want to care if you throw about he can't pass. Take the name Jalen Hurts away, insert it with any quarterback, and you say this is what the quarterback did in the Super Bowl. Do you think they won? Most people are going to say yes. One of the craziest performances he put up. I believe there was a point where he was like 27 and 38, like a 75% passing percentage, like absolutely stupid numbers to still catch an L, man. Like he put the team on his back and he didn't get the opportunity to finish it off with the Chiefs scoring literally with like a minute left.
We've forgotten that whole Eagle conversation to talk about Jalen Hurts with the dumbest fumble I've ever seen for a touchdown.
Yeah, that was definitely a weird one. But that's the RPO, man. Like when you're focused on running the ball, shit happens. Like you could just let that shit slip out of nowhere. I hate that, but like that's the RPO. That's the RPO offense you got to deal with.
Yeah, it's just really quick. If he doesn't fumble that and you take those 7 points away and you give the 3 points on the missed field goal back to the Chiefs, so if no mistakes were made, Eagles winning that game, man. It's a bummer. All right, what's your number 3?
Number 3, just because this one is a huge throwback, and I told you I was trying to reach out into all these sports. Dog, Barry Bonds in the World Series against the Angels. Listen to these fucking numbers. This is I don't care if he juiced. I could give 2 shits about if he juiced, right? Chicks dig the long ball, and I watched baseball when that man was at bat. He went in the World Series 8 for 17 on 30 appearances. Out of those 17 that he was, at the plate that he either got out or hit something, those 13 others were walks. Just we're not fucking pitching to him. Like in situations that it's the World Series. He was 8 for 17 with 13 walks, 30 plate appearances.
So that means he only didn't get on base 9 times out of 30. That's insane.
2 home runs, 2 doubles, like an absolute. They lost the game 11-8, in which he had like 3 hits. Dog, like we're never gonna see that type of shit again. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be alive. They changed the game for baseball, so I'm not gonna be alive to see another man hit 70 plus fucking home runs and then carry the team. I didn't talk about his postseason. I'm just talking about the World Series. Like he probably broke records to fucking get to the World Series, but like, dog, 8 for 17 and then 13 times in a series, they were like, "Nah, we're not pitching to you." We're just going to put the next guy on base. Like he got walked with the bases loaded. I don't understand how somebody does that, but like, I don't think we'll ever see that again.
It worked out well for them because they obviously won that World Series, but
they didn't win the World Series. The Angels. Oh yeah. The Angels. You're talking about them. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Baseball is a weird sport, man. You can't do it by yourself. Look at the Angels now. They have probably one of the best players of all time, Mike Trout, and they suck every year.
Yeah, they also have that kid. Yeah, I was gonna say Ohtani. Yep.
They still suck.
Switching up to basketball because again, you can do your thing, bro. Keep coughing. I don't care. For those that ain't watching, this man is dying on the camera right now.
All over, call the police.
His face is redder than a tomato. Like it matches his Buccaneers jersey. But number 2, just because again, got to give this man his absolute respect. What LeBron James did against the Golden State Warriors in this year, I think it was 2016, absolutely ridiculous. This man had no Kyrie, no Kev Love, and he pushed the Dubs to 6, obviously against KD in them. 36 and 13 and 9 was his line.
Yeah.
He averaged 40 plus minutes. They played 48 minutes. He averaged 45. I understand that Iguodala won MVP for being the LeBron stopper, which is one of the dumbest finals MVPs I have ever seen. If there was ever a case for a losing team, it should have been LeBron James. And you guys know how much I could honestly care less about LeBron. Like he's the greatest of all time. I get that. Like Dellavedova was the starting point guard. Like, yes, like the what he did with that team was ridiculous.
I was watching basketball the other day. I don't remember what team it was. It was one of those shitty teams. You know who I saw playing big minutes? Matthew Dellavedova. I didn't think he was still playing the NBA. He's still there, guys.
That is news to me because I thought he was out of the league. Yeah, man, this coughing is going around. Trust me, you're making a catch to me. But as much as I hate to say it, give me my drum roll, please. Y'all know I could care less about the Patriots. But what Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl against the Eagles is hands down the best performance in a losing effort I have ever seen. Call it what it is when it comes to Frizz really not caring about Tom Brady. I respect the game. I respect this man. And listen to these numbers. 25 for 48. Not the best when it comes to completion percentage. Of those 25 completed passes, he put up 500 yards. Amongst those 500 yards, he put up 5 touchdown passes and he lost. Like that to Nick Foles, right? So like that's also incredible. But he played as well or as perfect of a game you could play from the position of a quarterback. I don't know if we will ever see someone put that type of performance up in the championship and catch an L. So again, respect where respect is due. My goodness, that is it. You got to go home and be like, what the fuck else do I? And he contemplated retirement after that. Like he literally wanted to retire after that game because like, what else am I supposed to do? So kudos, big shouts to him. But my goodness, man, that's incredible. Let me read what we got over here.
Darian is a man of truth. He's a truth teller right now. He's gonna, even if it hurts his heart, he'll put those 1 and 2 LeBron and Brady because he knows.
So what I have to admit is this show I can't play the bias factor. I can't do it, right? Like I'm not just gonna say some shit just so that people can call me out on it because I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna 100% forget that I said it. So like I can't do that. I respect the game, man. Like, and again, after these L's that like the Saints have taken, after these L's that the Lakers have taken, granted, I'm pretty happy with LSU. So like I'm happy about that. But like when you lose this much, like you just gotta start respecting shit. And I can't be hating on it. Like I used to hate on Brady, and then I'm like, the motherfucker got 7 championships. Like, what else? Like, I can't hate on him for that. Same thing with LeBron James. Like, he is the best, he is the all-time scorer in the history of the game. I can no longer say he's not a scorer. I can no longer say he's not clutch. Like, he put up the most points in the history of the sport. It's just done over. I just can't argue. I don't got the energy to do it anymore.
You're getting old, man. You're getting old. All right, I think we have enough time to get. It's unfortunate that we only have probably like 15-ish minutes to talk about the game. We can still hit it. Yeah, we want to talk about the deadline because it was one of the more wild trade deadlines I can remember. Just because of the top heaviness of it with KD, Kyrie, this was super impactful. Let's see. So we have the Kyrie trade to the Mavs. You have the KD Suns trade blockbuster. You had the Lakers making a couple moves, improving.
The Russells. Yep.
What else do we have that's kind of impactful we can talk on?
So areas that will definitely help teams in one area or another. I like the Eric Gordon to the Clippers trade. That's helpful for their front court or back court, whatever one is the point guard, shooting guard area, back court. That's going to help them. I think even with that trade for Phoenix and Brooklyn's going to pan out pretty good. Like I think down the road.
You want to start there?
Yeah, we can just do that. I think that'd probably be the better area instead of going trade by trade.
Yeah, I was just curious. It was like because those are the 3 big ones I'm thinking of. If there's something else that's kind of impactful, let me remind me. But Suns, Brooklyn, obviously, it's kind of the second domino after the Kyrie move. We can talk on that afterwards. First of all, how do you think this affects the Suns? Are they the favorite in your opinion now?
Yes, one word only needed for that. Yeah,
I think I'd still take the Celtics probably just because of the continuity chemistry. If they met in the finals, and I still have. Who's the biggest loser of that trade? To be honest with you, it bums me out.
Ooh.
I was so high on the Nuggets all year. From day one, I was big on the Nuggets, and that trade really took the wind out of the Nuggets sail.
So a quick point, just because it's something that I was thinking of, and they were talking about it obviously online as well. This trade deadline absolutely screwed all of the top teams in the West. Like the top 4 teams that were having an incredible season: the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Kings, and you can kind of say the Mavs. We'll just say at least the top 3 because they were okay. They were okay enough to not do anything. And then it was the middling teams that made moves that you go, crap, bro. If we face them in the first round, Curry and them got GP2 back. I think that's an incredible pickup after he passed his physical. But that's the defensive stopper. Yeah, it did go through, but he passed his physical. I think that's an incredible pickup for them to help their defense, their bench, their depth, right? Then you got the Suns, middling team that now added Kevin Durant. And then again, I'm not saying the Lakers.
I disagree in the middle thing. I think
really
They going into the season were a championship contender, probably going to finish one of the top 3 seeds.
Bro, they're 4 games over 500.
Let me finish. They were projected as a top 3 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They lose for a long period of time, Chris Paul. They lose for a long period of time, Devin Booker. They start stumbling and falling after that. So they had the talent on the team. It was a matter of injuries and not having their star players there. They were, if you look at what they've been doing in the past couple of weeks, they've been rocketing up the standings before the trade. I think they were 4 seed before the trade, 4 or 5 seed. So it's not like they were middling. They just were unfortunate to have injury.
I guess you can say that. I mean, I'm looking at their last 10, 6-4. I didn't go before that, obviously. And I'm thinking about where they're at right now. They're technically the 5th seed. So it's like they're not where I've always said that the Suns were a regular season team. They're always a team that finishes first or second, and they get the home court advantage all the way up through the Western Conference Finals. Them not being there to me I would see that as middling because they're not performing up to their expectation. Even with those injuries or players missing, they're a team that now they can be a potential 1 or 2 seed because of this addition to it, where they were middle of the pack. Essentially, they go down the wrong path, man. They end up being a play-in team. Like, you only have to be the 7th seed for that.
Well, let's talk about the trade itself, right? So we have KD going to the Suns. To the Nets, you have 4 unprotected first picks. Was it unprotected, JA?
Yeah.
So
4 unprotected, and one pick swap. I don't know what the hell that means, but that's a lot of picks.
Good too. That's very good unprotected. Bridges and Cam. And the crazy thing is, I think Zach Lowe. I listen to a lot of his podcasts, and apparently he's heard from NBA sources that teams were willing to offer 3 first-round picks for Bridges. So they could have had like a total of 7 first-round picks back in this trade. He thinks it's too much. I think that if you go back to the summer, what the asking price was for KD was probably around this, if not a little more. And the Nets said no. And I guess there was no suitors for that. So I think that this was going to be the asking price. Is it too much? All right. Do you want one of the top 3 players in the world? Right. Yeah. Because it's going to bring you, where you need to go. It reminds me of who's the guy who was the Boston guy, Bill Simmons. I heard a quote from him, and his philosophy is 4 quarters don't make a dollar. Do you know what that means?
4 mid players don't get
Add
you.
Up.
Yeah,
exactly. There's only a few players as good as your top 10 Kevin Durant type player. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to pay a premium to get a guy like that. So if the Suns feel like that's going to take them over the edge, it's what you got to do. As far as Brooklyn, right? I love it for them because I know people will say, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, so just stop me if you need to do. I know people are saying this is the biggest failure, one of the biggest failures in basketball history, right? Because you had Kyrie, KD, and then traded for James Harden. They didn't have to give up any assets to get KD. They didn't have to give up any assets to get Kyrie. Yeah, they gutted some of the skeleton of that team, but you give up nothing to get those 2, and you're bringing back like
the return
5 first-round picks, 4 unprotected, a pick swap. You're bringing back Bridges, Cam. You're bringing back a couple players from the Mavs. Like, I get it. Like, they didn't win championships, but to say that this was a complete disaster for the Nets is kind of overblown.
So I think maybe I'm thinking of it of a different angle. I think the disaster part of it isn't so much like the organization, like what the return was after all this. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business. I think the organization for the Nets wasn't a disaster. I think the culmination of those 3 as a talent, those 3 being put together as a team, that was a disaster. Those 3 played, I think, 13 games together. It was between 13 and 15. Wasn't a lot. So, like, they never played. They won 1 playoff series, and it festered into nothing for their 3 careers. So, like, that would be more of the disaster than it being on the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets been through this before, right? Like, they did what they did to get KG, Paul Pierce, and I want to say another player, Deron Williams, I think it was. And then nothing happened, right? So, like, this is the second time, right? And they're just trying it again. they are in an area where they don't have to build
Hmm.
for the future. They're a good enough market where like they can trade for their future, and hopefully it works.
And going back to the other trade, like that was way worse for that franchise because they were an unmitigated failure. I don't remember what seed they finished and made the playoffs, or if they even made the playoffs. But at least this iteration of the Nets were competitive, and every year were considered a championship contender. And finished with a. I mean, last year they finished with 7, and the first year was pretty rough, but they were always in it. Is what I'm trying to say. And the funny thing is, like, as much as people want to hate on James Harden for being lazy or whatever and not being a winning player, he went there because he wanted to win games. And after the fact, now if you listen to some of the interviews and shit that go on, and he spoke on it when they played Brooklyn last night. It's basically Kyrie. Like he was the wedge that drove this thing apart because Harden wants to go there to win basketball games. KD gets hurt. Kyrie can't play because of the vaccine thing and other things that's occurred. And he's just like, dude, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm here to win basketball games. So I think to your original point, right, about you saying it's not management's fault. It is in the fact that they gave the franchise over to 2 guys who you cannot count on. That was their biggest mistake.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you on this one. Kyrie unfortunately drove a giant metal spike through that organization, and it ruined their opportunities to their window that opened and closed so fast. I don't know if we've ever seen that or will ever see that amongst stars again. He drove that team apart. I think we spoke off air about all the games that he missed, and like it wasn't even just injury, right? Like he missed a ton of games in Boston with an injury. And then he missed the next season, with an injury in the first round. And then he missed the next season with the Nets because of COVID, right? And then he missed the next season because of protests. Like it's just something always happened with Kyrie, and it manifested into a failure in Boston, a failure in Brooklyn. And I love Luka Doncic. I really hope this doesn't result into a epic failure for him because he doesn't deserve that. The man has been carrying the torch for as long as he could over there, and he gets help. But is it the help that he actually can use?
I don't want to get like there's so much to talk about on this.
Mhm.
I want to get a little bit of a conspiracy on this one.
Oh boy.
I heard Windhorst, like we're talking like finger waving.
Did he do that? Because I think he retired.
Well, they were joking on about it, but he had suggested in a very Windhorst, I know something, but I'm not going to say it way, that Kyrie still has, how do I put it? He still has interest in Phoenix. He still wants to play with KD. And there is some speculation that he might try after this season, because his contract is out, to leverage the Mavs to get to the Phoenix Suns. So a sign and trade type of deal.
So that is news to me because I was under the assumption that the only reason why the trade went through with the Suns is because they promised the extension for him. But that
It depends what's the
extension,
extension, though.
that's what I was going to say. That extension with a sign and trade.
Because
come on.
well, here's the
if I'm
thing.
Durant, why do I want that? Like, what leverage does Kyrie have by saying, yo, sign and trade me to the Suns? What does Monty Williams think? Like, he doesn't even play for that team. What does Chris Paul think? Like,
Well, do you think Chris Paul might be part of that sign and trade?
for him to go to Dallas? Why?
Just
What would he
just
benefit from that?
salary
when he-
matches. But like, here's the thing: like with Kyrie, like his biggest grievance with the Nets is they were going to only offer him 2 years guaranteed. I think I don't know if it was max or a little less than max. He was going to get 2 years guaranteed, and the third year there was stipulations on how much were you going to play in the first 2 years, right? So there was games clauses in there, and he's like, nah, I want the full max 4-year guarantee. Like I want all my years max. Or I think maybe they can offer him 5 because he's a bird rights, but he
Yep.
wanted all of the years guaranteed. And they're like, we just can't do that. Like You've burnt us so many times. We can't just give you money in the contract. And he wanted out. I'm curious if Dallas says we'll give you as many years as you want, which I don't think that's their plan because it just doesn't make sense. It's basically how many years do they want to give him? If they give him what he wants, he'll stay. If they don't, he'll weasel his way out. Like we know that about him.
But that is a win-win for the Mavs. They don't have to force. They don't need to sign and trade for Chris Paul if the salaries match because they have Luka. That's an irrelevant position for them to have a Chris Paul.
All right,
and they don't have to sign him to trade him like that. Just don't sign him, right? I don't understand where the leverage would come in for that.
The Suns.
No, for the why would the Mavs need to play ball with that?
Well, because if Kyrie has no desire to re-sign with you, you want to recoup something back instead of just letting him walk for nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, they got rid of what Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. I understand the two first, but the Mavs aren't picking in the lottery. Like they didn't really give up anything for him. They gave depth, but
you're hating on Dorian Finney-Smith.
I'm not saying they're bad. No. By no means am I saying they're bad. What I'm saying is they didn't give up enough to be attached to Kyrie Irving. I thought that he was under. I thought the contract agreement with the trade was he's accepting an extension to stay with the Mavs, not to be traded. So like that just threw a wrench into my plans with it.
I don't think his future at Dallas is as solidified as you think.
Well, I didn't know that. Like, again, this is news to me.
Yeah. And the thing with you said they didn't give up much, but they had already traded away first round draft picks. So they had 2 picks available to trade right now. They traded one away. If Kyrie walks, right, you have 1 first round draft pick to trade. And then what else for assets?
Yeah.
Nothing. And the thing is, like you say, well, you have Luka. He wants to win. If Kyrie walks and they have no prospects, he's going to leave. Eventually.
I think he's going to leave no matter what. No. Part of me says that he's going to take the Dirk route and just like, I'm here for the ride. And part of me says that he's going to take the Giannis route, which is, look, I'm here. I mean, no, sorry, not the Dirk and Giannis.
What about his personality? What about his personality says that? Because he, to me, is someone who's fiery, passionate, and wants to win. And if he's a franchise that's perpetually a 6-7 seed, he's not going to be happy doing that.
But he's not a 6-7 seed that's not making the Western Conference Finals. They were there, I think it was 2 years ago. Last year. Sorry, they made it last year against the Mavs, against the Warriors. Kind of
fluky, though.
But they still made it. I get what you're saying, but like they still made it, and it is one piece away. So Dallas isn't a major market, but they are a market that can sign a player because of Mark Cuban. The bread that man is willing to give up, he makes Dallas a viable destination for places.
Salary cap sport, though, brother. Like, there's not much you can do there.
You can still pay in the luxury tax.
You can still pay in the luxury tax, but you have to maneuver your contracts in a way that you can retain with bird rights and stuff. Like, you can't just sign anyone. You know what I mean? There's a hard.
Their slots that they have is just their max slots. All they have is just Luka. The cap is there. They don't got the Porzingis on their contracts anymore. So like they at least have 2 slots for them to sign a max player.
So let's just talking trades. Do you like that trade for the Mavs?
Yeah. I think it's the short-term help. Again, I was under the assumption that he was going there to be extended and be a Mavs player. So like, is it different? Does it change the way my perception is now? Yeah, because I didn't realize that he could just leave at the end of the season. But I think it's a good trade for the Mavs for the playoffs. I think Kyrie Irving presents a set of tools that will help them out substantially when both of them are on the court. If it's long-term and he's not there, then that's when I'm like, maybe they kind of lost out on that one. But like, I didn't know that he was requesting or thinking about doing a sign and trade at the end of the season.
I understand why the Mavs did it, right? Because they're worried that Luka will walk and they want to find him a superstar pairing to appease him, to make the team more relevant, to give him a chance at winning. I just don't go for that guy. He's shown time and time again, that is, that he is unreliable, that he creates problems, not with maybe his fellow players, although James Harden would say otherwise, but organizationally, you just can't work with the guy. I would just be worried that bringing him in could detonate this team. And I would have rather seen them maybe wait until next. I know there's a timeline they want to, win with Luka, but maybe wait until the offseason, unlock another one of those picks because you can only trade so many at a time, and make a bigger move for someone that you really feel comfortable as the co-star.
Go ahead.
No, it is what it is, man. They made the move. I just think might be short-sighted. That's all.
I love Kyrie Irving, the talent. I absolutely despise Kyrie Irving, the person, because I think I might have said it off air. He hasn't done shit since the shot. Nothing. He's brought nothing to the table since the shot against Golden State. And he's burning teams, right? He's leaving them in areas that they don't deserve to be in. What he did to Boston was ridiculous. What he's done to Brooklyn is ridiculous. What he could potentially do to Dallas also is going to be ridiculous if he does the same thing. But is he a talented ball player? You bet your ass he is. Like, God gifted. So I want the talent of Kyrie Irving. I hate what the baggage that comes with it. And for the short term, like I said, for this season, it's a shot in the arm, right? They were in the Western Conference Finals last season, watered down Western Conference. So like you said, I know that it was different, but they have a top 10 player in Kyrie and they have a top 3 player in Luka. Maybe something happens. We don't know.
Their defense is absolutely shit right now. Hopefully they score 120 a night, because
I think that was Cuban's
really
goal.
good.
I think Cuban said that. He's like, we're not going to play defense. We're just going to try to put up 130 every night.
Their one good defender, and Dorian Finney-Smith is gone. Just to jump on the Nets, like the totality of all these moves, I watched them play the Philadelphia 76ers. Was it last night? The night before? Their team's low-key like fun to watch now. And
the Nets?
I think they're going to be in decent shape. The players they got back are actually pretty solid. They're still going to be competitive. They'll probably finish as a 7 seed or something like that. And they have a shit ton of picks. I feel like they're back to where before the Kyrie KD thing, remember when they had D'Lo, they were kind of the upstart Nets. They're kind of that team now. They're fun to watch. They're a rootable team, and I'm hoping for the best for that franchise now that's all taken care of.
They had the bench players and the bench dances, which is why people like them. They were all doing the green,
back, baby.
Yeah, the towel waving and the Ben Simmons sitting on the bench, never getting into the game. Man, I missed on that one.
That's a problem. That's the biggest problem they made, is getting Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that definitely hurt their franchise.
All right, you want to touch on the last big trades involving your team?
Yeah, I think again, I said it. We said it off air. I think these trades that the Lakers made and the talent that they acquired, I saw Jared Vanderbilt make a pass on Saturday. I was just like, yes, let's go. A playmaking big that can play defense. And what they picked up, they shipped out Russell, right? They got rid of Westbrook. It's unfortunate that that they had to do it, but like they got better, significantly better without him, and they got younger. I'm not saying that they are going to be a 1 or 2 seed, but getting rid of Westbrook to pick up, D'Angelo Russell, playmaking shot creator that is needed. He's not the typical point guard, but he's a floor stretch. You can say it, man, but I've seen the kid play. He's a shot creating, point guard that can distribute okay. He's not the best, but again, that's what LeBron James is for. But he's going to score. He can get you 20, 30 if you need it, right? Like he has the ability to do that. I don't think Russell Westbrook
is also going to take a lot of bad shots.
You say that, but again, as much as I stay away from the whole LeBron's giving him his dues, LeBron elevates people, right? Like he has the ability to elevate D'Angelo Russell into a better player, which we all thought he could be, being the number 2 draft pick. What was it, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that? So he has the ability to get that. He's playing with one of the best of all time. You're not even allowing me to do this. And this is what you did when we were offline, is while I'm trying to explain to you the benefits of this team, you just cut me off and making it seem like the trades suck. The Lakers are going to be terrible. I ain't saying they're going to be world beaters. I'm saying they may miss the play-in. That's all I'm saying. Let them be a 5 seed. Let them be a 6 seed. You don't want to play in the playoffs. Healthy LeBron, healthy AD. Like, there's no team that wants that. I don't care the age. The LeBron factor comes in when he's in the playoffs, you go, shit, We have to play LeBron James. And if Anthony Davis is healthy, we have seen what he does on his 30, 10, and 5 nights, and those 5 are blocks. So, like, I know that I'm praying for health, but I'm saying if they are healthy with the young skill players that they just received, not just talking about Russell, but I'm talking about Malik Beasley, a sniper. I said they needed a shooter. They got one. Jared Vanderbilt, a backup 4 or 5 that can replace AD if needed, right? They got Mo freaking Bamba. And I know you don't care for him because he was on the Magic, but I'm telling you, the way that this team can elevate themselves with having LeBron James, if he's willing to pull them to the finish line, they are younger, they are deeper, they are better than they were 2 weeks ago. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're a top 3 seed, but they are a 5 or 6 seed that you don't want to play if that team is healthy.
I mean, I like the moves, right? I think that it makes more sense roster-wise. They had a huge issues with shooting, outside shooting. They've improved drastically there, right? Just like, why didn't you make this move 3 months earlier so it would have mattered? Like, that's my thing. They're marginally better, which is fun. That's great for them. But they should have done this a long time ago. They gave up one of their picks, even though it has top 4 protection. It's not fully unprotected. I thought it was a good trade. They didn't give up too much. But now they lose that asset to trade in the future, right? I would have preferred them chilling, right? Getting rid of that Russell Westbrook contract, maybe throwing a couple picks and something and taking the full step. I feel like they took a half measure, right, this year, and they gave up some ammunition they could have used in the future. That's my only grievance with it, right? So, like, they did the half measure now to make LeBron happy, to make him feel like he can be competitive. We don't think that they're a championship team, and now they don't have those assets later on to make the big move, to get the big fish. That's my only issue.
And I get what you're saying. I'm not going to agree with it. I can just say I understand, right? I wanted the superstar splash. We got the all-star pickup, right? And it's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You don't call him a superstar. Zach LaVine is a fucking superstar. He just happens to play in Chicago.
He's not, bro.
You're saying that he's not. He's young. He's gifted. He has the ability to play 3 and D.
He's like 27 coming off a bad knee injury, man.
What, a knee injury 3 years ago? Like, what are we talking about?
No, he was injured last year.
No, okay. So again, that's news to me, but he still can leap out the gym. I've seen the man dunk. I'm not even talking about just his dunking ability. I'm saying he is a scoring threat. The boy can get buckets. So I would have rather have seen them go after LaVine, but they picked up D'Angelo Russell. I am accepting that it's not just, because I even said it to you. I was like, if it was just Russell, I'd be like, damn. Probably could have did more, but it's what they got with it. They got Beasley, they got Vanderbilt, they got Bamba, they got
Bamba's bad, bro. Throw him out of there.
No, you're. I mean, for you might say he's bad.
I've watched him play. I'm gonna.
He's an athletic big that is going to spill AD. What more can you ask for?
Just someone who can actually get boards and play aggressive and want to.
I'm gonna watch the game tonight. All right, I'm gonna watch the game tonight and see how
you're gonna be so frustrated about his lack of effort and not wanting to be tough. You're gonna hate it so much.
I gotta worry about that with LeBron James. What are you talking about? Lack of effort and wanting to be tough. The man still flops on the ground like he's a sack of pillows. Like, come on, man. Like, I gotta deal with that for the year in and year out. You think I care if the 4th string big does that? No, I can care less. The GOAT is doing that, let alone Jared Vanderbilt or Mo Bamba doing it.
Just one last thing on the LaVine thing.
Mm-hmm.
If he was that dude, like that guy you think he is, he would have success as a leader of a team somewhere. But time and time again, man, his teams are losers.
Mm-hmm. It's just him, by the way. There's really nobody else. Don't tell
me.
You
said he was that dude.
DeMar. Don't tell me it's DeMar.
DeMar?
The more I say it, the less I like it.
You just jogged my memory. I want to mention the DeMar Hamlin sitting next to the Goodell thing at the Super Bowl. I found it kind of weird.
You didn't like it?
I'm kind of out on DeMar Hamlin. Not him as a person, but like how the NFL's puppeting him around.
They needed to. A man almost died on national television.
They're like, look, it's safe. He's alive. No, get the fuck out of here. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the podcast. We appreciate y'all, watching live or listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those good places. Remember, subscribe. I feel flat.
This man is incredible right now.
You take it over now. I feel like I'm flat. I'm Roboto again.
As this guy would typically say, hit us up on all platforms, social media wise. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can hit us up on YouTube. All of those will work out for us. But as I say when we getting out of here, y'all please be safe. Make sure you take care of y'all bread, take care of y'all chicken, take care of y'all mentals, y'all physicals. Valentine's Day is tomorrow for those with the ladies. But y'all be out of here. Be easy.
Yeah, you know what it was? It's this goddamn computer. I had to restart.
Man, if you don't just get us out of here, man, go buy yourself a goddamn computer.
Peace.